Hi, I just really wanted to quickly come on here and talk about something. Sorry if I sound a bit nasally. I'm having like sinus infection, and also I'm deaf in one ear because of like mucus buildup. Like, I don't know. You know when you're having like runny nose, then your ear gets blocked. So sorry if I look very tired also. On the topic of like looks, right, I wanted to talk about this like a video that's been going around, that's been made by Atika. I've been following her for a while, and honestly, when I saw that video, it was a bit jarring to me. But at the same time, I could kind of understand what she was trying to say. Hear me out. You know, for me when I was young, like I would like go to India to like visit my family, right? And I would hear all these like aunties come up to my mom and say like, "Oh my god, your daughter is so beautiful, but she's so dark skinned, And then cut to like 10 years old, somehow like my family managed to like convince me to bleach my freaking face just to lighten my skin a little bit so that I wouldn't get bullied in school for being so dark skinned. Because like bro, like I got called all the names in the book when I was in school in Singapore. And I think that sort of experience, that sort of like, thing does inflict a level of injury to your self-identity and how you perceive yourself. I think on the note where about how like brown girls, like we need to work extra hard to look a certain way, to fit society's expectation of beauty. I think like I think anyone, any race can look worn out if we don't groom ourselves properly, right? But I think when it comes to like minority group, there is that level of pressure that we face due to internalized racism and casual racism. Because can you imagine, like I go to school, I bleach my face, I go to Tamil class, I still get bullied by my lighter skinned Indian friends because I'm like the darker skinned Indian friend. And then I go to my form class, I get bullied by my like majority race like group of friends, like classmates, for being dark skinned. So it's like no matter what I did as a child, it was just never enough lor. And I think this is when I was so convinced that internalized and casual racism is very real in Singapore, and it can be very detrimental to like young brown like women and men in Singapore lah. And I think at the end of the day, I think what the video, I think she did manage to bring up, this idea that us as brown like people, we have to work harder to look a certain way in order to not be seen as homeless. Because to be honest, even as a child, right, like I never tried. I think I was like 12 years old, and then I never thread my eyebrow. Then I remember one of my family members came up to me and say like, "Nala kulikada panda mari irke." At 12 years old, bro, like what do I have to prove at 12 years old? And it's very painful. It's very, very painful. And I think what that video failed to do is like to address this issue with empathy, because it's much deeper. It's a lot more deeper issue, and it comes with like generational like internalized racism that's been bleeding in our society. It's been bleeding through our society, and we are so quick to brush past it and go like, no, like, you're just being too overly sensitive. But anyways, what I just wanted to share is if you ever feel, if you're a young person like me, you're dark skinned and you're wearing makeup, and if there's ever a thought that comes across your mind where like, oh my god, I hate the way I look, please remember that it's a lie that society is trying to feed to you, that you are not enough. I think you are beautiful. Always remember, whatever things that you do for yourself, however you groom yourself, however you want to do your hair, please make sure that you are not trying to prove what these people are trying to say, or like what what society is trying to like put on us lah, like us, like meaning like Indian girls, like we need to work harder to look better. Whatever you do, make sure you do it for yourself, do it for your own confidence, not because you're trying to chase validation, not because you're trying to run away from who you are, not because you're trying to run away or like wash away your ethnicity. You are not trying to do that. You are trying to fight against that. So fight against it. Don't conform to how these people are trying to see you. And for the video that she made, to be honest, I think it was taken out of context. It was deeply misunderstood because of how she did not follow up properly with what she was trying to say, because of how deeper this issue is. And for me as a brown person, and maybe you as a brown person who's watching this, maybe you resonate to what I say, maybe you don't. then again, it's everybody's like own individual experience. And I want to say that please, at the end of the day, do not let your insecurities, do not let like just racism get the best of you. Meaning, like, don't let it like shake you. Don't do something just to please people. I'm not saying what she's saying is wrong. It's the delivery of the video. I saw her her apology video today. I saw that also, and she did address how she was in the video and some of the things that she said. You should learn how to show grace, especially to a brown creator who made a mistake lah. That's why I feel it's important to show grace and let growth take place, and show grace and let growth take place. I think it's good that she took accountability. I think she meant well. It's just that the execution was poorly done, and it's basically level of appropriateness and showing empathy and being and making sure that people are heard. I'm gonna go sleep now because I took freaking cough syrup.
Okay, today let's talk about the Indians. For a very long time, I've been doing videos about Indians, and what I get normally on my comment section is that Indians are racist. Yes, that is something I get a lot on my videos. We understand that just the same way the Israelites were scattered all around the world is just the same way Indians were also scattered across the world. And it's also the same way the black person has been scattered across the world. For the black person, it was the slave trade and it was colonialism. For the Indian, it was colonialism as well. You understand? And also, there was some part of slave trade that happened among the Indians. This is a history that is not known too much by the mainstream media. It's not told too much by the mainstream media. But we get a lot of critiques about Indian history. We get a lot of not so good, let me call it gossip, but it's not really gossip. We get so much of information that are not really friendly about Indians. And so today I have a different perspective. I want to show you the perspective of why I think they call Indians racist. And is it all Indians who are racist, or what's happening? There's one unique thing with the Indians that you must realize. Indians have a caste system, and this caste system was birthed through white privilege. Now, before I give you much into this detail, I want us to watch this video to gain more context. From this video, we shall have a critical analysis. So without further ado, let's dive right away.
உங்களுக்கு வந்து கார் வேணும்னா black color வேணும் கிளாஸா, ஃபோன் வேணும்னா black color கிளாஸா வேணும், வீடு பெயிண்ட் வேணும் செம்ம கிளாஸியா வேணும்னா black color வேணும். ஆனா people மட்டும் டார்க்கா இருந்தா அவங்கள அக்செப்ட் பண்ணிக்க மாட்டாங்க. Share about Hindu faith.
Yeah, so the caste system in India is in some ways a labor organization. So there's 4 major castes, and depending on what caste you are born into, that is your prescribed way of life and the tasks you'll do in your life. And they believe in reincarnation. And the highest caste, Brahmin, which is what I was, it's about, keeping the faith. They're teachers. It's about philosophy and doing the ritual and religious rites. Obviously, over time, through the English coming into India and the change of capitalism, it affects how you look at this type of labor organization, because it's hard, right? It's hard to maintain this attitude when so much more money comes in, the opportunities are more endless, and they kind of unravel for, the discipline to stay to these rules.
Was there a point of time in your life when you thought that I need to bleach my skin or whiten my skin?
Yeah, I thought many times.
No, Indians were not supposed to be fairer. India receives more than 250 sunny days. So vitamin D is directly absorbed by skin, hence more melanin content, hence the darker skin.
There was time when I was a teenage girl, I could see people girls who were fairer than me, they were treated in a different way. You could see the school teachers or everyone is like, oh, she's so cute, she's so pretty. So that time we feel, okay, I want to be that person.
I've been bullied for my skin tone, and that too by my teachers. Yeah, one of my teacher bullied me when I was in class 3rd or 4th. I was just a child. I don't know that I have a dark tone and all.
My friends who are like a little darker than me, they sometimes feel that, still that I should put tomato on my skin and this on my skin to become fair. So their self-confidence has been really affected.
As an actress, I witness it all the time. For example, if I walk into a room and they say, well, we want to have an Indian character. And then, some in the past particularly, sometimes they would cast a South Indian person, but their name was Kapoor in the show. And I'd be like, guys, that doesn't work because they look South Indian. Their accent might be a Tamil accent when they speak Hindi. I was like, it's not authentic. And then you have to really deep dive into the fact that India is made up of so many linguistic backgrounds, religious backgrounds, and racial backgrounds. I don't think that is common knowledge going through the world, and I see it in TV representation all the time.
I was at the mall the other day, and these Fijian girls were walking behind me, and they were just like having a random conversation. They're just talking, like having a good time, and then mid-conversation, one of the girls is just like, "Chon rakam se mein tatti aave." Literally killed me. Fiji Hindi is so funny. Regular Hindi could never. To all those Indian people who shit on Fijian people and their Hindi, y'all are annoying. What the most annoying thing is, I can understand you, but y'all can't understand our Hindi. So who's the loser here? And if I think about it and talk a little bit slower, mujhko bhi Hindi aati hai.
This is why I don't like being Indian. Reason number 1, the hair. I could shave my mustache and it will come back the next day. And let me tell you something, when I was about 15, I used to get bullied for my eyebrows and just my facial hair. And I went to go and get my eyebrows threaded. To end the bullying. The lady was like, oh, very much hair, full face thread. I didn't know what she was talking about. I said, yeah, whatever you recommend. I did not know what I had just agreed to. I was so young and naive. This woman fully thread my mustache, my chin hair, my sideburns were gone, my monobrow was gone, my eyebrows were gone. My face was stinging like a bitch. I looked good though, so it was okay. But did it matter? No, because guess what? It all grew back within like a week. A week!
Even in India, the lower castes, especially the Dalits, are subjected to honor killings.
What's an honor killing?
Honor killing is when two different castes get married or fall in love and they try to elope. The family is not approving to save the family's honor. The family members, they end up going and killing the couple.
2024?
You do have news articles every now and then, and even I think last year there were a few more news articles about honor killings, about intercaste marriages love marriages which were not approved by the families.
You're allowed to kill?
It's not allowed. It's not allowed, but they kill it for the sake of their honor, the family's honor.
Right. So if you marry somebody lower caste?
Yes, or another caste that they don't approve of, it's usually like that.
And that's defensible in court?
No. It's not. They do get jailed for it.
Right.
It's just that people still do it.
Hi friends, let me start by saying it's India, so there's gonna be background noise. I'm gonna tell you about one experience of colorism while I've been here. So we threw an 80th birthday party for my grandma. Classic Indian family fashion, we invited 2 million people. That's so cultural for us. And in all honesty, my immediate family was there, but there was also a bunch of people who to me are pretty much randos, but they claim to be in some way distantly related to me. So of course I was being polite and saying hello to everyone, and these ladies come up to me. They're definitely my grandma's age, older, and there's a group of 6 of them. And they say, oh, is that you, Karishma? We haven't seen you in 10 years. And I have no idea who they are, but I'm obviously going to be polite. So I was like, oh, it's nice to see you. And they say, this is what they say in Hindi. Nain naak to iski sundar hai, lekin iska rang to thoda. And Hindi is my first language, so I 100% understand what these women are saying. In English, that means she has nice features, but her color is a little, And they're commenting on my body and my skin color to each other as if I'm not even standing there. And I was shocked, but this is so normal in India for people to comment on your body right in front of you. And it be your own people. It's women. And some of these women are just as dark or darker than me. How much do you have to hate yourself to say that about somebody else? Then at the same party, on a separate occasion, another group of these kind of rando people that claim to be related to me, again, they say, we haven't seen you in years. And they say, हाँ अब तो ये ठीक लगती है लेकिन छोटी थी तो देखने में थोड़ी. Now in English, what this means is, she doesn't look bad now, but when she was younger, she was kind of hard to look at. for context, when I was younger, my front 2 teeth would stick out and I couldn't wear contacts, so I had really thick glasses, but I was just as dark as this. And I do wonder what kind of person you have to be to say that about a 10-year-old girl. Colorism is so deeply entrenched here that people feel okay saying that to your face as if they're telling you that you have something stuck in your teeth. Years ago, this probably would have bothered me. And I really did want to cuss these ladies out, but I kind of just took a step away. I stepped outside just to take a breath, and I didn't want to make the whole kind of party about me because it was about my grandma celebrating her 80th. But if there's any other brown girls out there that are insecure about their skin color, anyone telling you that you are not enough or that you're not beautiful really just hates themselves. So to that I say, fuck the aunties. You do you, go out in the sun, wear white, because they're just projecting. And I wish little Karishma knew this, but you're kind of perfect just the way you are.
Okay, this video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to talk about anti-blackness within the Punjabi community. Now, in Bollywood, we know that they promote these skin bleaching products and things of that nature, but I want to speak to the diaspora, to be honest. So sometimes we may hear people say things like, I want to stay out of the sun because I don't want to look dark. And implicit within those kind of phrases and statements is that dark skin is undesirable. So we should think about the things we do and the language we use. So if your mum or your aunties are describing someone who looks beautiful and they use, adjectives like fair-skinned, very light-skinned, you should challenge that in a nice, polite way, because we know that these things aren't necessarily open displays of racism, and the people saying that and perpetuating these ideas don't necessarily know they are wrong. So I would suggest saying something like, Mummy ja, Mummy ji ja pua, idda kehna nahi chahida. Kyunki these kind of phrases you use devalue blackness and dark skin. And what if your son or someone in your family is darker skin? How would they feel, for example? Obviously there will be different levels. You can talk to somebody like your parents, maybe in a deeper level, in a more dungigal, talking about the structural impacts of things they say and how that perpetuates white supremacy. But it depends on the person, right, and your relationship. So please follow for more videos on Punjabi culture.
In July 2020, India's ruling party, BJP, nominated Shantaram Siddi to the Karnataka Legislative Council. He became the first Indian lawmaker from Karnataka's Siddi community. Afro-Indians are known as Siddi. Their roots stretch back to East Africa's Bantu people. There are an estimated 150,000 Afro-Indians who've been living in India for centuries. They mostly live in the rural areas of these states. It's telling that Shantaram Siddi was also his community's first ever graduate. These two historic incidents exemplify the Siddi community's marginalization. After Shantaram's election, a fellow leader from the Siddi community uttered words that capture the unfortunate plight of Afro-Indians. We are thrilled that after so many years of being part of India, having given our sweat and blood to the country, our community has finally been recognized. It boils down to recognition, being seen and heard. Despite living in India for centuries, members of the Siddi community continue feeling invisible to the mainstream Indian society. That's why the recognition that came through Shantaram's election led to those powerful 6 words, our community has finally been recognized. However, this recognition will only make sense if India embraces the Siddi community fully. India's state and national policies must unlock the doors of integration and empowerment for the
Most days I don't feel beautiful because this is the South Asian beauty standard you grew up with. Dark skin, frizzy hair, and of course I think all these women are beautiful. But when I search South Indian actresses, this is still what I see. These are the women we see in our movies. Aishwarya Rai is regarded as the most beautiful Indian, and I love her, but very little about her actually looks Indian. And like Deepika, she's considered dusky or dark skinned. Like, how is this dark skinned when this is the average Indian?
Why are some Indians darker, and why are some Indians more fair skinned? So the southern part of India is populated by what's known as Dravidian people, which are basically dark skinned. The northern part are basically more fair skinned and are referred to as Indo-Aryans. The origins of Dravidian people are disputed and no one knows where they're really from, but quite a few people say that they originate in Africa. Dravidian people are, however, said to be related to the peoples of Malaysia, Polynesia and the Aboriginal Australians. And one more thing, not the whole of North India is fair-skinned and not the whole of South India is dark-skinned, just the majority.
In Desi communities, we are racist to our own people because we glorify the white skin. We glorify being fair and being bright. Even though majority of us are brown, it's a part of our ethnicity, it's a part of our identity. All of the advertisements promote the idea that to be happy, to be beautiful, you need to be white. This racist ideology is like engraved in the Desi community.
In Indian society, which would be considered attractive? Dark skin or a light skin guy? Definitely fair. Everybody wants a fair girl.
Obviously fair and beautiful. That's the only thing that matters if I talk about marriage.
There's a Snow White, there's a Cinderella who need not be very brave or, self-dependent, but she's beautiful. So it's about the movies we see, the cartoons we see.
They try to make them look really fair, and we as a youth want to look like that because, okay, this is shown as attractive. So we consider that as a standard and go by that.
How does this trend start?
It has definitely to do with globalization.
I think it started with the caste system. That comes way before globalization because the darker skin tones were considered untouchables.
When India got colonized and all, and the British people came and they were basically all white, they looked down upon us like these are colored people and they are not good. They considered themselves superior, so all others became inferior.
This adorable little family represents a group in India known as the Siddis. The Siddis are Indians of African descent, and they arrived in India in various ways. Some arrived as early as the 1st century, coming freely as sailors and merchants from Africa to trade their wares in India. Others were brought as enslaved people by Arab and Portuguese traders starting in the 7th century to be laborers, guards, and members of the military. Interestingly enough, some of these enslaved people actually rose through the ranks and even became royalty or governors of their own city-states within India. Others fled from slavery and they built their own communities far away from the rest of the people deep within the forest. The most recent group of African people to arrive in India were actually brought in the 19th century to help to build the railroads. Today, it is estimated that at least 150,000 Siddi people reside all across India. And despite the different ways in which they arrive from Africa, they have managed to preserve their African roots, particularly through music and dance. Life is not easy for the Siddi people. Because they are darker complexion, they are seen as being one of the lowest castes in India, which of course comes with all kinds of marginalization, and many of them live in abject poverty. Some of the Siddis have managed to obtain a certain status in India known as scheduled tribes, which means that they receive certain government benefits and protections. However, these benefits do not always get to the Siddis, and many of them hope for more access to things like technology and education so that their future generations have a way out of the poverty, the day laboring, and things that they face currently.
These are beautiful black-skinned Indians. But why doesn't Bollywood cast black people in their movies? Bollywood does not even cast dark-skinned Indians in most of its movies. Sadly, not surprising, Africans don't appear in Bollywood movies, when Bollywood doesn't even represent the reality of India, which is a country filled with millions of dark-skinned people. Does this mean that Bollywood is racist? Let us know your thoughts in the comment below.
So they're not half black, they're mixed. So my 8 children, technically they're not half. See, I am 100% Indian. Both my parents are from India. From what I know, they're Indian. My husband, on the other hand, is Afro-Caribbean. He's from Trinidad. Come here.
What? What up, people?
So he's from Trinidad, and he's not full black. What are you?
Okay, so my little brother took like a 23andMe? It was a 23andMe, so I'm going off of his results because as far as I know, we're full. we're fully, we're fully related. So according to that, Nigeria, Ghana, Benin, and Togo, 7% South Asian from India. So apparently it's 4% North Indian, 3% South Indian. I have some ancestors from Greece. Greece. So, yeah, you know, Trini to the bone, right?
So yeah, the kids are not half. They're a little bit of everything. They're like majority Indian, I guess. But yeah, they're mixed. They're not half, I guess.
Sometimes I still kind of struggle with accepting my skin color and my body because I have a lot of hyperpigmentation, right? Like a lot of dark spots here and there. And when I was growing up in schools, I'm telling you, one of the saddest things, and I hope this is not happening anymore in schools, one of the saddest things that I used to hear is that, Sakti, you know, the fairer skinned Indians are always prettier than the darker skinned Indians, you know. You're a dark skinned Indian, that means you must be poor, right? And the fairer skinned Indians are the richer ones, right? They live a better quality of life than you guys. Am I right? Therefore, when I was young, I used to literally hate my skin color because I was like, God, why am I dark skinned? I hate this, you know? And at that point of time, I couldn't really find a lot of like makeup products also that suits my skin tone. I mean, now we have Fenty and all that. But yeah, I'm learning to accept myself for who I am.
So from the video, we can clearly see that wherever Indians went, they carried their problems with them. And these problems, we share them even as Africans. Africans will suffer the problem of colorism. Indians also suffer the problem of colorism. Remember, the caste system of India, one of the great tenets that builds it is having a white skin. The lighter skin you become, or rather, the closer you are to the white person, that is the standard of beauty you have. So the closer you are to the white person, the more beautiful you are, and the more Bollywood, the more TV stations, the more businesses want to employ you. One thing you need to know, as from the video, we have dark-skinned Indians. And these dark-skinned Indians are not shown on the mainstream media. They are not shown in Bollywood. Bollywood is like the Hollywood and the Nollywood of India. We don't see them over there. We don't see them in Bollywood. You understand? We don't see them there because even the entertainment system itself is propagated with this colorism issue. And this is a racism issue. Yes, it's a racism issue because colorism is birthed from racism. And the reason why this is happening is because the Indians were colonized by the British. The Indians just got their independence during in the last year of the Second World War, which was 1945, is when the Indians got their independence from the British. You understand? The problem of colorism is always a problem that was there where we had white people as colonizers, particularly the British. Now, the British colonized most of Africa. The British colonized India as a whole. You understand? And that's why India, they speak English. Many English countries in Africa were colonized by Britain. You understand? Now, colorism is a challenge that is not only happening to Indians and Africans. They themselves are a ticking bomb to themselves. And I think it's high time Indians and any other culture that practices colorism remember that there is something bigger than this color thing. This color is just very superficial, very superficial. The real person is the person inside. The real person is not my color speaking to you. It's my heart, it's my soul, it's my spirit. That's me. It never dies. It always remains. This one can die and go to the soil, but the spirit and the soul always thrive. It always goes back to the owner. It tells you we shouldn't be focused on the superficial. We should be focused on the inner being. You understand? Instead of focusing on the skin color of someone, focus on what they can do for you. What can this person do for you? Or rather, what can you do for them as well? The problem of colorism, racism, thinking that because you're light-skinned and you're close to a white person, you're better than them, is a lie, is a lie, is a lie. The white person is no better than any other person. The black person also is not better than any other person. But things have been reversed. Remember in the past, the Black Americans professors that I've been showing you, these black professors have always told us that the white people like black skin. Some of them would even go through extreme things, try and change themselves to become black. We've seen Russians who are calling black people over there to go and fight for them. Russian women are loving black people. Japanese women the other day, they were calling black men and they need their semen. Why would you want something? Why would you hate something that someone else wants? You want to become someone else and that someone else wants to become you. What a chaotic world. You understand? Because of the stereotype, because of the ideological mindset that was given to us by the colonizer, we are left with that evil, inferior mindset that we are not adding up to anything. It's high time we dispose these and we accept us for who we are. We are black. We have Indians who are black. Black or brown or whatever. That's who you are. We've seen also an example of Indians in Fiji. This is a real problem if you don't know. It's a real problem that's affecting very many people. And I think it's high time Indians come out, black people come out, any other person across the world who is not feeling that they are white enough, come out and say, we are not changing ourselves. We are accepting us for who we are. Those businesses that are promoting colorism. Bollywood is a very big industry to be promoting colorism. You understand? Now, what happens to those black ladies? What happens to them? They just stay that way. We just look at them and say, hey, you are not enough for this Bollywood. I think you should go. No. It wasn't their choice to choose to be black or to be white. It is God who assigned the complexion. And there's nobody who is greater than God in making decisions. That's my thought, and I think colorism is a byproduct of racism. And those countries which were colonized by white are the countries which are facing this. The closer you are to whiteness is the standard of beauty, or is rather the better you become. No, a better human is somebody who has moral values, not who have a whiter skin. That is what I believe. So if you like what I do, or rather if you find value in this video, kindly do subscribe to the channel. Give me a super thanks. Like the video, share with your friends. See you in the next one, where we'll also have deep critical analysis on issues affecting Africans, black people, and everyone across the world. See you in the next one.